Something alarming is unfolding in 2025. Across the country, millions of Americans are walking away from Walmart. The store that once claimed to define cheap is now making headlines for spoiled groceries, half-empty aisles, and discounts that aren't what they seem. Investigations show more than 4 out of 10 shoppers leave Walmart without the very basics they went in for. USDA recalls linked to Walmart suppliers have ripped tens of thousands of pounds of meat and dairy straight off the shelves. And here's the twist: Aldi now undercuts Walmart on well over 70% of everyday grocery staples. So ask yourself, why pay more, only to get less? Why risk your family's health and wallet at a retailer that no longer lives up to its promise? This isn't just checkout frustration. It's about trust that's been broken, money being wasted, and the slow unraveling of a retail empire that once looked unstoppable. And the walkout isn't slowing, it's accelerating. Seniors, parents, and everyday families are taking their spending power elsewhere. This is the corporate back door, where the truth hits home. And today we'll expose the 7 biggest reasons why millions are leaving Walmart behind. Let's start with number 1. Poison in the pantry. Because this is not just about prices or service. It is about something far more serious. Imagine opening a carton of milk that turns sour the moment you pour it. Picture bringing home chicken only to find it slimy and gray before it even reaches the frying pan. What if the food you trusted to nourish your family was not only disappointing but dangerous? For as long as most of us can remember, buying groceries at Walmart felt routine, even safe. Milk, cheese, chicken, and yogurt were not luxuries, they were essentials. Nobody expected perfection, but everyone expected the basics to be reliable. Yet in 2025, that trust has been shattered, and shoppers are beginning to wonder if Walmart has quietly lost control of the very standards that once made it dependable. Stories of spoiled food are no longer isolated. They are nationwide. A grandmother in Michigan pours sour milk from not 1 but 2 cartons, both of them days before the expiration date. A retired veteran in Arkansas posts photos of vacuum-sealed cheese leaking oil before it even leaves the fridge. Parents in Pennsylvania describe chicken that looks gray and slimy the moment the package is opened. These are not rare flukes. They are patterns, and patterns raise questions. Could it be that Walmart's supply chain, the biggest in the world, is stretched so thin that corners are being cut? Consumer Reports tested random dairy products from Ohio and Pennsylvania stores and found bacterial levels far beyond what is considered safe. The United States Department of Agriculture later flagged several Walmart suppliers for failing to keep poultry at safe temperatures. If trucks are running warm, if cold storage is inconsistent, how much of Walmart's refrigerated food is quietly compromised before it ever hits the shelf? Number 2. The recalls. They tell their own story. In August, more than 300,000 Walmart brand yogurt cups were pulled from stores nationwide because of yeast contamination. Earlier in the year, frozen chicken was recalled after inspections revealed problems with cold storage. Each time, Walmart presents it as an isolated case. But are these really isolated, or are they symptoms of a deeper systemic failure? And here is where the speculation grows darker. Walmart is under constant pressure to stay cheap. Suppliers are squeezed to cut costs. Shipping companies are pushed to move product faster and cheaper. When every link in the chain is stretched, where do you think those shortcuts appear first? Usually in the things shoppers cannot see. How cold the truck really was. How long a pallet of dairy sat in the sun before unloading. Whether a shipment of chicken was tested thoroughly or waved through to save time. For seniors, the stakes are terrifying. The Centers for Disease Control warn that bacteria like Listeria thrive in improperly stored dairy and meat, and they hit older Americans the hardest. Each year, about 1,600 people contract listeriosis and roughly 260 die. It does not take much, a single cup of yogurt, a single sandwich with tainted cheese for a vulnerable person to end up in the hospital. The danger is invisible until it is too late. Health departments across states like Colorado and Kentucky have logged complaint after complaint about Walmart food spoilage. But the truth is, most shoppers do not bother filing official reports. They simply stop trusting. And that quiet choice multiplied across millions of households is devastating. Because once trust is broken, it spreads like mold on bread. Every yellow rollback tag starts to feel like a trick. Every great value label starts to look like a gamble. And it makes people ask the unthinkable. If Walmart cannot guarantee something as basic as a safe gallon of milk, what else is slipping through the cracks? If cold storage is failing, could medications in the pharmacy be at risk too? If yogurt spoils in days, what does that say about the standards behind the food that is not yet recalled? Meanwhile, competitors are capitalizing, Aldi's dairy sales are climbing, Kroger is gaining loyalty, and Costco's Kirkland brand is becoming the trusted name Walmart's great value once was. According to Nielsen data, Walmart's dairy sales alone fell nearly 8% year over year. That is not just lost revenue, that is lost faith. And here is the truth no corporation wants to admit: reputations for safety rarely recover. Once families believe your food is risky, they do not come back. And in 2025, that is exactly what is happening to Walmart. People are leaving not just because the milk sours or the chicken stinks, but because deep down they now suspect that Walmart's entire system of safety and quality control may be collapsing. Number 3. No longer cheap. For most of its history, Walmart was not just another retailer. It was the standard by which all other stores were measured. If you wanted proof something was cheap, you compared it to Walmart. For retirees watching every penny, for parents juggling bills, it was the store that promised you could live better simply by saving money. But in 2025, that promise has fractured. Across America, shoppers are waking up to an uncomfortable truth. Walmart is no longer the cheapest place to shop. Consumer Reports found that Aldi now beats Walmart on more than 70% of grocery staples. Bloomberg reported that Aldi's prices on fresh produce and dairy items that matter most of families were as much as 15% lower. Regional chains like H-E-B and Meijer are also drawing in loyal customers with honest prices, while Costco has been winning over working-class families and retirees at record levels. So why does Walmart feel more expensive than ever? Many point to tactics that look less like savings and more like sleight of hand. Shrinkflation has become unavoidable. Cereal boxes that used to fill a family's breakfast table are now lighter by several ounces, yet the price has climbed. Detergent bottles look the same size but pour out fewer loads. Snack packs that used to satisfy a child's lunchbox now hold more air than food. And then there are the so-called rollbacks. Watchdog groups including Truth in Advertising caught Walmart slapping rollback stickers on items that were actually more expensive than the month before. Shoppers who once trusted the yellow tags now carry receipts, snap photos, and share proof online that those discounts are nothing but a mirage. This has left many asking, has Walmart changed its business model? The speculation is troubling. For decades, Walmart kept prices low by using its size to push suppliers to the brink, negotiating rock-bottom costs that shoppers benefited from. Now analysts suggest the company is using its size to quietly extract more money from its customers instead. Instead of passing down savings, it is passing down costs, while masking the increases with flashy signs and marketing spin. For seniors, this shift feels like a betrayal. Those who once budgeted down to the last dollar are suddenly finding the math no longer works. One pensioner in Ohio shared that she used to leave Walmart with a full cart for under $100. Now she spends $150 and leaves without meat. That is not inflation, that is disillusionment. And for people on fixed incomes, there is no room for disillusionment. Working parents are noticing it too. Instead of rolling out of Walmart with a trunk full of groceries, families leave with lighter bags and heavier frustration. And while they struggle, competitors are stepping in with transparency. At Costco, shoppers know exactly what they are paying for. At Aldi, private labels undercut Walmart and deliver consistent quality. Even local farm stands are regaining loyalty, not because they are always cheaper, but because their prices feel fair. The numbers back it up. Nielsen IQ reported Walmart lost nearly 6% of its low-income shoppers to Aldi in just the first half of 2025. Costco's membership jumped nearly 10%, with sign-ups increasingly coming from seniors and working-class households that Walmart once considered its most loyal base. Even regional grocers are seeing steady gains because consistency and honesty matter more than flashy signs and hollow slogans. And here's the cruel irony: Walmart still tries to present itself as the champion of affordability. The ads still promise save money, live better. But when shoppers compare receipts, the story is different. The slogan feels less like a promise and more like a punchline. The emotional toll is heavy. For seniors, shopping is not just about groceries. It is about independence, dignity, and trust. To feel tricked at the register is to feel disrespected, and once that respect is lost, customers rarely return. The quiet walkout from Walmart is not just about saving a few dollars. It is about something larger. The realization that families and retirees can do better elsewhere. That the old reflex go to Walmart because it is cheaper no longer holds true. And once that illusion shatters, the spell is broken for good. So if Walmart is not the cheapest anymore, what is it offering? Number 4. The self-checkout scam. Unfortunately for many shoppers, the answer is frustration, because the so-called convenience Walmart has invested in, the rise of self-checkout, has turned into one of the biggest reasons customers are leaving. What was supposed to save time now feels like unpaid work. Walmart once sold the idea of self-checkout as progress, faster lines, greater convenience, more control for the customer. But in 2025, that shiny promise has soured, and what was marketed as empowerment now feels like exploitation. For millions of shoppers, especially seniors, self-checkout has become the moment they realize Walmart is not making life easier. It is quietly making them do the work of paid employees. Picture this. You walk in for a few groceries, only to find row after row of blinking kiosks, no cashiers in sight, and a robotic voice that scolds you with every move. Unexpected item in bagging area. Please wait for assistance. Minutes drag by as alarms flash overhead. For a working parent juggling children, or a retiree moving at a slower pace, this is not convenience, it is stress. And yet Walmart calls it innovation. But here's what most shoppers do not see. A leaked memo in early 2025 revealed Walmart had slashed thousands of cashier positions nationwide, replacing them with self-checkout machines under the banner of efficiency. The company saved millions in labor costs, but did shoppers see lower prices as a result? No. Prices climbed, shrinkflation spread, and yet customers were suddenly bagging their own groceries, fixing machine errors, and wasting their own time. It is not just about groceries, it is about being conscripted into unpaid labor. The fallout has been ugly. A national survey in March found nearly 60% of Walmart shoppers said self-checkout made their shopping experience worse. Seniors rated it the most frustrating part of their trips. On social media, jokes about being drafted as free employees mask something more serious: exhaustion and resentment. Shoppers are asking a bitter question: if I am doing the work of a cashier, where is my discount? The irony is painful. Self-checkout was meant to save money for Walmart, but it is now costing them billions in losses. In May, Reuters reported the company lost roughly $3 billion in missing inventory, much of it tied to self-checkout errors. Some losses were intentional theft, but many were simple mistakes: missed scans, double entries, frozen screens that left customers walking away empty-handed or overcharged. And for seniors, the burden is heavier than numbers on a balance sheet. Imagine an older shopper fumbling with touchscreens, struggling to scan heavy items, or waiting 20 minutes for help with a frozen screen while frozen chicken slowly thaws in the cart. These trips feel less like errands and more like ordeals. Other retailers have noticed the backlash. Kroger and Publix now advertise the return of staffed lanes with real cashiers and real service. The contrast is striking. Competitors are saying, "We still see you as a person." Walmart, on the other hand, has left too many customers feeling invisible. And so shoppers are connecting the dots. If Walmart is willing to offload its jobs onto its own customers, what else might they be cutting corners on? Spoiled milk, gray chicken, and failing safety standards suddenly feel less like isolated problems and more like part of the same corporate mindset. Cost-cutting at all costs, even if the customer pays the price. By mid-2025, hashtags calling for boycotts of self-checkout were trending online. Petitions demanding the return of human cashiers gained hundreds of thousands of signatures. And slowly, quietly, seniors and working families began making a different kind of statement. They stopped showing up, because here's the cruel twist. Convenience was supposed to be Walmart's strength. Instead, it has become one of the reasons people are leaving in droves. Shoppers are not asking for luxury. They are asking for something far more basic: service, dignity, and a shopping trip that feels like a relief, not a burden. And if self-checkout feels like a scam, then the larger question becomes unavoidable. Has Walmart abandoned service altogether? Number 5. Service is dead. Step into a Walmart in 2025 and you'll notice something chilling. It no longer feels like a store buzzing with life. It feels like an empty airport terminal. The greeters who once smiled at the door are gone. The cashiers who made small talk at checkout have been replaced by machines. And the employees who remain often look exhausted, overwhelmed, and disconnected. This decline in service isn't an accident. It's strategy. In March, an internal memo revealed Walmart planned to cut nearly 10,000 in-store service roles nationwide, betting that automation would fill the gap. But machines cannot replace people. A kiosk won't help you locate your grandchild's allergy medicine. A blinking screen won't notice when a senior is struggling to lift a heavy case of water. And a robotic voice certainly doesn't provide the small human connection many retirees quietly rely on during their weekly shopping trips. The consequences are everywhere. A national survey in June ranked Walmart dead last in customer service among major U.S. retailers. Complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau jumped more than 20% in a single year, most citing poor staff availability and rude interactions. Social media is filled with viral clips of shoppers waiting 15 or 20 minutes for help at locked cabinets, only to be met with sighs or shrugs when an associate finally appears. For seniors, the emotional toll is especially heavy. Many describe shopping not just as a chore, but as one of the few outings in their week where they expect to feel acknowledged. Instead, they're greeted with silence, confusion, and long waits. One retiree in Florida filmed himself waiting half an hour to unlock a $6 bottle of heartburn medicine. His closing line said it all: "They don't want my money, so why should I give it to them?" Even Walmart's employees admit the cracks are widening. Online forums are filled with confessions from workers saying they're given impossible workloads, minimal training, and little reason to care. When morale dies, customers feel it instantly. That silence at checkout, the absent glance down an aisle, the refusal to engage, it all sends one loud message: your presence here doesn't matter. Competitors are seizing the moment. Kroger is running ads boasting real service, real people. Costco is doubling down on human cashiers and those small community touches like free samples. Even regional grocers are winning loyalty simply by having staff who talk to customers and offer genuine help. Shoppers notice the contrast, and they're quietly choosing to spend their dollars where they feel like people, not problems. Because here's the truth: customer service isn't just about efficiency, it's about dignity. And when seniors, parents, and families feel invisible inside a store, no rollback sign or so-called bargain can make up for it. In 2025, Walmart's biggest failure isn't just spoiled food or higher prices. It's that too many customers leave feeling like they don't matter. And once a store makes you feel that way, why would you ever go back? For decades, Walmart built its empire on one simple promise: no matter when you came in, the essentials would be there. Milk, eggs, bread, toilet paper. Those were the anchors that made a trip to Walmart feel worthwhile. But in 2025, that promise is cracking. Walk into stores across the country, and what you often see isn't abundance, it's absence. Empty shelves where basics should be, handwritten "restock soon" signs that never seem to come true, and frustrated customers leaving with half-full carts. These aren't isolated incidents. They've become a pattern so widespread that shoppers now describe Walmart as a gamble. In Tennessee, a father shared online that he spent 40 minutes walking the aisles only to leave with 2 items, saying, "I could have stayed home." In California, shoppers filmed entire refrigerated sections cleared out, nothing left but condensation dripping on bare racks. In Florida, videos went viral of toilet paper aisles stripped bare, not during a crisis or holiday rush, but on a normal Tuesday morning. Consumer Reports confirmed what customers already knew. A June survey ranked Walmart dead last among major grocers for product availability, with more than 40% of respondents saying they regularly left without the basics they came for. That's not just inconvenience, it's insult. Gas isn't free, and time isn't free. For retirees living on fixed incomes, wasted trips mean wasted dollars. For working parents juggling schedules, it's one more frustration piled onto an already stretched week. The deeper concern is what these shortages say about Walmart's supply chain. For years, Walmart prided itself on logistics so strong they became a business school case study. But in 2025, cracks are showing. In July, Reuters reported Walmart slashed orders for several great value canned goods because of supplier disputes and shipping bottlenecks. When even Walmart's own private label can't stay on shelves, shoppers begin to wonder if the supply chain is faltering here, what else is vulnerable? And then comes the speculation. Are these shortages the result of cutting too close to the bone? Walmart has spent years streamlining, automating, and pressuring suppliers to shave costs. But every corner cut leaves less margin for error. One delay, one dispute, one storm, and entire aisles go bare. Customers don't see corporate strategy, they see empty shelves. And each time they leave disappointed, trust slips further away. Meanwhile, competitors are capitalizing. Aldi has doubled its supply of private label staples, ensuring shelves are full even when Walmart sit bare. Regional grocers like H-E-B and Meijer are quietly winning loyalty simply by offering consistency. Even local farmers markets are seeing a surge of shoppers who would rather pay a little more to know food will be there when they arrive. For seniors, the issue cuts especially deep. Shopping isn't just about saving, it's about security. When a retiree makes a trip to Walmart expecting to buy eggs, bread, and milk and leaves with none of them, it feels less like a store failure and more like a broken promise. And when that broken promise happens over and over, the decision becomes easy. They go somewhere else. Because here's the truth, empty shelves don't just cost Walmart sales, they cost Walmart trust. And once a family finds stability and consistency elsewhere, they rarely return to chaos. In a year when every dollar and every trip matters, no one wants to gamble with dinner on a store that can't keep its basics in stock. Number 6. Great Value's decline. For decades, Walmart's private label, Great Value, was the quiet hero of the American budget. When money was tight, when every penny had to stretch, shoppers knew they could count on that simple blue and white label. It wasn't glamorous, but it delivered. Families trusted that even if name brands were out of reach, Great Value would still be safe, consistent, and affordable. But in 2025, that trust is eroding fast. Shoppers are now sharing stories that sound less like complaints and more like warnings. In Arkansas, a retiree opened a can of Great Value green beans, only to describe them as looking straight out of a swamp. In Texas, a mother posted photos of boxed macaroni and cheese that turned into a glue-like paste, sparking thousands of disgusted comments online. These aren't picky gripes, they are signals that quality is slipping in dangerous ways. Consumer Reports has flagged Great Value canned vegetables for inconsistent textures and excessive brine. In May, more than 25,000 pounds of Great Value frozen chicken strips were recalled for contamination with plastic fragments. Then in July, the Food and Drug Administration confirmed salmonella in certain batches of Great Value peanut butter, forcing a nationwide recall across 30 states. Each headline chips away at the foundation of trust that took decades to build. And shoppers are noticing other tricks too. Shrinkflation has hit Great Value hard. Boxes of cereal weigh nearly 10% less than they did just 2 years ago. Packaging has been redesigned to look bigger while quietly offering less. Watchdog groups have accused Walmart of deceptive labeling that visually exaggerates how much food you're buying. For seniors and low-income families, that's not just misleading, it's betrayal. The emotional sting is deep. For years, Great Value was the lifeline for retirees on fixed incomes, the safety cushion for single parents, the way families could stretch a paycheck and still eat. Now, customers say the label feels more like a trap than a bargain. One Ohio retiree summed it up simply: "I thought I was saving money, but now I'm throwing it in the trash." Competitors are stepping in to fill the void. Aldi's private label lines are thriving, built on consistency and honesty. Costco's Kirkland Signature has built an empire of trust, so strong that loyalists brag about buying Kirkland salmon, coffee, even diapers without hesitation. Meanwhile, Walmart's house brand has become a punchline on TikTok. Great value, more like great disappointment. The numbers are sobering. Nielsen data shows Walmart's private label sales have fallen nearly 7% year over year, while Aldi's and Costco's surged. Analysts warn that if Walmart can't restore faith in its own brand, the exodus will only accelerate into 2026. Because when the very products meant to anchor the budget shopper lose their reputation, Walmart loses its reason for being. Here's the harsh truth. Once shoppers decide that even the cheap stuff isn't worth buying, they don't just switch brands, they switch stores. And for millions of Americans, that shift is already underway. Number 7. Fake rollbacks. For years, the bright yellow rollback sign was Walmart's secret weapon. Shoppers saw it and felt a small sense of relief, a reminder that even in tough times, Walmart was still on their side. But in 2025, that beacon of savings has turned into a symbol of suspicion. More and more shoppers are discovering that rollbacks are not what they seem. Across the country, people are comparing receipts and realizing that discounts are nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Online posts show bread, cereal, and coffee labeled as rollbacks at prices higher than they were just a few months earlier. In one viral example, a Great Value loaf of bread was proudly marked down to $2.48, yet a shopper's receipt from March showed the same loaf for $1.98. That isn't savings, that's deception. Watchdog groups have noticed too. In July, Truth in Advertising accused Walmart of deceptive pricing, citing dozens of examples where rollback tags misled customers into thinking they were saving money. Some shoppers have even filed complaints with the Federal Trade Commission, demanding action. For seniors on fixed incomes, it feels personal. A retiree in Kentucky summed it up: "I go in with a list and a budget, and I leave feeling robbed. It's not inflation, it's trickery." The speculation is unavoidable. Is Walmart quietly inflating prices, then using rollback stickers to disguise the increases? Analysts suggest this may be a strategy to protect margins margins while keeping up the appearance of being the low-price leader. But here's the danger. Once customers believe you're playing games with price tags, trust evaporates. And in retail, once trust is gone, it rarely comes back. Meanwhile, competitors are capitalizing on Walmart's misstep. Aldi may not have flashy signs, but its prices are consistent. Costco members laugh at Walmart's gimmicks, knowing their bulk prices remain steady and honest. Even regional grocers are benefiting because their customers feel confident that the price on the shelf is the price they'll pay at the register. For shoppers, especially seniors and low-income families, these fake rollbacks cut deeper than a few cents. They feel like betrayal. Shoppers are not just paying more, they're being tricked into thinking they're saving, and that betrayal leaves a scar. By the fall of 2025, the verdict among millions of shoppers is clear. Rollbacks no longer mean savings. They mean lies. And when the yellow tag itself becomes a warning sign instead of a beacon of hope, Walmart's entire brand promise collapses. Because in the end, this isn't just about spoiled food, higher prices, or empty shelves. It's about trust. And when a store built its empire on the promise of trust loses it, customers don't just get angry, they leave. When you step back and look at the full picture, a disturbing truth comes into focus. Walmart's downfall is not about one spoiled gallon of milk, one empty shelf, or one frustrating trip through self-checkout. It is about a slow unraveling of trust that once felt unshakable. For decades, Walmart sold itself as the store where America could stretch its dollars, fill its pantries, and feel secure in the basics of daily life. But in 2025, that promise has crumbled. Shoppers are finding rotten food on refrigerated aisles, paying more for groceries that used to cost less, and being forced into unpaid labor at machines that turn every trip into an ordeal. The service that once felt welcoming has withered into silence. The shelves that once promised abundance now sit bare, and the private label that once anchored tight budgets has become a symbol of disappointment. Even Walmart's most iconic sign, the bright yellow rollback, no longer means savings, it means suspicion. It is the final proof that the low-price leader has lost its crown, not through accident, but through choices. Choices to cut corners, choices to squeeze customers instead of serving them, choices to trade dignity and trust for short-term profits. And shoppers are responding the only way they can by leaving, quietly, steadily. Seniors on fixed incomes, parents on tight budgets, and everyday families are taking their dollars to Aldi, to Costco, to Kroger, to farm stands and local stores where prices feel fair and food feels safe. It is not just an economic shift, it is an emotional one. Because once trust is gone, no discount is cheap enough to buy it back. So the real question is no longer why are people leaving Walmart? The real question is why would anyone stay? And that is where we leave you today. But this conversation is far bigger than just one retailer. Walmart is only the beginning. The corporations we rely on every day, whether for food, medicine, or household essentials, shape not only our wallets, but our health and our trust. If this video opened your eyes, don't stop here. We've put together a full playlist exposing the hidden truths behind the corporations we use daily. Companies that quietly change the rules, cut corners, and hope we don't notice. Watching those videos will help you understand the bigger picture and make smarter choices for yourself and your family. So before you click away, take a moment to check out the playlist on your screen. Learn what these companies don't want you to know. Protect your money, protect your health, and above all, protect your trust. Because once trust is gone, it never comes back.